So what a fun time. What a fun time, certainly. So the eyes of the world are kind of on us, I guess. We have some big challenges ahead of us of what to do now that we have this, these several different mutations. So it's, I've always known that Burmese have a very low genetic diversity. So who made it to the WIN Symposium talk? Hopefully a few of you were able to go. And so this is looking at genetic diversity of about 20 different breeds or so. And we picked the breeds that are the most prominent breeds of the cat fancy. This is data that's collected over maybe 10 years or so. And so it's not one snapshot in time of the breed. It is CFA and TICA data mixed together, but mostly the cats are from the United States. So I didn't deal with European cats. A couple times, like Korots and I think the Turkish Vans, we used foreign cats.
Did you use any random bred American cats?
No, well, I do have a similar slide of this, of random bred populations from around the world, and it would extend this way, okay? So up here we have the breeds like the Manx and the Norwegian forest cat, the Ragdoll, that have fairly high genetic diversity. And so then your random bred cats basically start here and go up, right? So Burmese and Singapore are at the wrong end of the scale, in fact the two worst breeds. But also with Burmese, they have quite a high inbreeding coefficient as well. So those two things combined, I would maybe switch them as maybe a little worse off than maybe even the Singapore, right? Now we have looked at these cats different ways, so there's different genetic measures. The line on the top, again, is USA Burmese. You don't want to be on the top, you want to be on the bottom, okay? So the random bred cats are on the bottom, Persians are kind of right in the middle, and then the next line down under USA Burmese is UK Burmese, all right? So we've looked at European cats as well. So the European Burmese are just as in a similar problem as the American Burmese, all right? So if you got to get them to outcross and you guys to outcross, hey, why don't we all work together and outcross together? And knowing that Singaporas are a similar type breed, maybe that's something we need to consider. I know it's been part of your game plan. Yes?
Where are the Tonkinese, since we are also
right. So we have never actually used Tonkinese in our studies. And why is because we felt like they would be somewhere in between Siamese and Burmese. So none of our charts actually have a specific Tonkinese group on there. So, but it's something that we could actually look at. So I don't really know how to predict what Tonkinese would be. Right? So, so we've used different measures. Now keep in mind, okay, so the US cats have had this craniofacial defect, but the cats in the UK have had a thing called hypokalemia. It's a potassium disorder. It causes the cats to have seizures and generalized muscle weakness, and they have to have potassium augmentation for the rest of their lives. Some cats resolve. Sometimes it's induced by stress. Some cats don't do well on the potassium supplements. So I was never comfortable saying, go outbreed with Euro cats, because I knew you were going to walk in the door with this, right? European cats also have some other things we have to keep in mind. There's been a brand new midline closure defect. Has anybody seen any of the European Burmese with a... You've seen, yeah. So this is something we got to keep our eyes on as well. So as just got brought up in the breed council meeting, how do you know that you're not bringing something else new in? You don't. You don't. But any cat at any given moment can have a brand new mutation as well. So I think those odds are even, you know, whether you bring in a brand new cat or not and stuff. So we have been able to do the genetic tests for hypokalemia. And would you, Barbara or Susan, in my bag on the side pocket is my cell phone. I just had the VGL tell me how many tests were now being performed for this right now. So hypokalemia in the Burmese have been going on for about 2 months of testing now in Britain by the British group at Bristol. And Davis can now do that test. And let's see, where would this be? Okay, so hypokalemia in the United States done by Davis. This is probably, though, European cats. Davis actually gets most of its business from Europe and Australia and less from the United States, right? So as far as hypokalemia, 20 cats have already been done, 9 are in the process, and 25 are pending. The defect was found in 28 cats, meaning 28 carriers in there. And, oh no, the defect has been, the head defect has been done in 28 cats, 6 are proceeding, 29 is pending. So people are starting to catch on that these tests are available. What I'd like to do with you guys is try to figure out, of the genetic tests that you need for outcrossing, how could we maybe package them the most efficient way that we could keep the price the lowest that we possibly could, but get you the most bang for your buck for genetic testing. So, I mean, there's colors that you're interested in. There's the GM2. I don't know. Does anybody have any concept of how much GM2 is a problem here or in the UK? GM2 is gangliosidosis. It's one of the Corot type conditions, but it's a different mutation. So it's different from the Corots, but yeah.
I'm Robin Bryan. It was my cats that first produced the GM2 kittens, and we worked with Dr. Henry Baker.
Yeah.
We don't see it. We're having a lot of testing.
Yeah.
So, but we do still have the carriers out there, so it is something that you would want to test for.
Okay, all right. So that's cats in the US and cats in Europe, or
Yes.
everywhere? Everywhere, okay. So we have the craniofacial mutation now as well. Now, as I said earlier, yeah, do you have a question before I correct?
I'm on an international vet list, and somebody had a cat with facial itching, and somebody else posted, oh, well, you know there's that Burmese facial pruritus condition. I said, what Burmese facial pruritus? Do you know about that?
Yes, I do. Okay, so this is, they're calling it oral facial pain.
Yeah.
It has been published in the literature. Dr. Russ Bridges' group out of London. And so it's a UK problem. And Australia, so it's again, it's a non-USA Burmese cat situation, and we have actually done the analysis already because Dr. Rusbridge had saved DNA, and she had 30 cats with this syndrome. So what we think it is a model for trigeminal nerve, right? And the cats will, some people were just passing it off as the cats, oh, they're teething and they're painful, but it's more than that. And so the cats will literally self-mutilate. They'll dig at their face. And so we already, this is the beauty of this, we've been able to use the controls, you guys now as controls, because you don't have that, and all we needed was the 30 cats from Claire Rusbridge, and we have already done that analysis. Now we need to get money and bodies. Barbara's interested, but we need money and bodies, and we got to clone her basically, because we have, I was showing you those peaks of Dubai, you know, we want those big peaks. We have one for facial oral pain. So, but we need to get the money to go after it. Other cats, Australian cats also have diabetes, and UK cats have diabetes, but that's probably a more complex trait. That'll be hard to work on. But the facial oral pain is something we can probably solve soon. Yeah.
What about HCM?
HCM is, you know, every breed group I talk to puts up their hand about HCM. And Kate Mears is working on Sphinx and Devon Rex and Bengals. We are interested in Siberians. Dr. Louise Fuentes, Virginia Louise Fuentes in London is interested in Norwegian forest cats. Jens Hangstrom in Sweden is interested in Burmans, but I don't know of a specific Tonk or Burman project for HCM because you guys haven't been putting up your hands for that. You know, if you think that's an issue too, we have to, there's a hand, so we have to always be watching for that. So there's always going to be other things we got to work on as well. So we have this mutation. What we have to keep in mind is the carriers do produce the shorter face, so it is linked to the shorter face. Now we have to talk about selection processes a little bit. All right. So certainly one of the first cats that had this mutation, whether it's Good Fortunatus or somebody else, had a shorter face. All right, and that's where it came from. So you got to make a big leap in facial structure. You can alter your facial structure slowly by slow selection processes. Persians have probably had a different selection process to get their face short. Traditional Burmese over the past 20, 30 years have been doing their selection process. And then probably also out of the contemporary Burmese that don't carry this mutation, they are probably maybe little longer face cats. People still have been selecting for the shorter and the shorter faces of those as well. So I don't think phenotypically you can predict out of any contemporary cats who are carriers and who are not. I think they need to be tested, right? And then keep in mind, if you want to keep this mutation, you're still going to have cherry eye problems, you're still going to have dermoid problems, you're still going to have those other issues. And that's maybe because there's been the selection process to keep making the face shorter and shorter besides this major mutation. So think about the blue cats again. You have a major mutation that makes all cats blue. What are the little modifiers that makes a Korok color different from a Russian blue color, different from a chartreuse color, different from a British short-hair blue, right? There's modifiers that you guys have been selecting for as well. Those are harder to control, but we can control this major mutation. Now, do I suggest that you all get rid of it right away? No, because then a big chunk of your Burmese are gone, and we're already telling you that we're in trouble and we need to expand this breeding population. So how can we do this wisely, slowly, but increase, start outcrossing and maybe slowly try to eradicate this mutation totally. So this is going to be tough. You guys, it's really going to come down to the politics, right? We know how to test for this. We can test for it, but we have to, I would suggest that we test, the whole breeding population at this point in time. And before we decide anything, I'm not going to breed that cat, I'm not going to breed this cat, let's see what the frequency of this is in the breeding population. Let's see how many contemporary cats there are that are acceptable, that we still like and are potentially good show cats that don't carry this mutation. Those are the things we don't have answers for. In Euro-Burmese, in American Shorthairs, in Tonks, in Bombays, what's the frequency of this mutation there as well? So I think no decisions right now should be made about let's get rid of it. Let's first do a census and see what's going on for about a year. How many cats do we have? Who's going to buy into outcrossing, and kind of where we can go from there. So I'll stop for a couple questions. So.